Okay, then. Welcome to. I've just had a message. We've been having a little bit of a mare, like I said in the post. The live gods didn't have their full coffee this morning, so I think they may be messing about. So this may not be going to you LinkedIn. So if you're hanging around on LinkedIn, I hope you saw my message earlier and pop over to YouTube, which I'm saying here now for people who are LinkedIn won't even be hearing this. So forget it. Here we go. Today we're live, and as I said, live is full of all kinds of weird stuff going on. So we'll carry on and hope to go with it. But basically, for those who have come across this either in the live or the replay, this is the Halftime Huddle. I do this every week, mostly live. Mostly it works. Who knows? And it's a chance midweek to spend a bit of time taking a breath, having a little bit of a chance to listen to some chat with someone who's running their own business, doing the stuff that you guys are doing, and can share some of their experiences, and you can learn about what they do, and it can help you take a breath ready so you can get ready for the second half of the week. Today, I'm lucky to have a wonderful lady called Vanda, who I've met on and off over the last couple of years. She's come to talk to our group, and she's also quite local to me in some respects, in physically as well. So although I don't know whether we've actually met physically, well, maybe that's something we should do. I can see her in the green room shaking her head, so we'll say. But without too much of a faffing around, I'll introduce you and bring her on. So welcome, Vanda. No, we haven't seen ourselves live, have we?
No, we haven't. Hello, everybody. No, we haven't, but we should really, because we met for the first time when you weren't local to me,
Yes.
and then you moved down here, didn't you? And we've been planning on meeting up for, I would say, a couple of years. It just
Absolutely, it's
hasn't
ridiculous, isn't it?
happened.
Yeah. No, indeed. The best laid of plans of mice and men is just not actually coming across. But Jesse, yeah, you're stone's throw ready now. We ought to catch up sometime. So there you go. That's you've heard it in front of all these people who come across this,
I'll be
who've heard it
happy.
live. Yeah, there you go. It's a commitment. We'll meet up live, and you'll probably see that I'm a tiny little dude, because that's the thing you find when you meet people live. They're either really imposing sort of giants of people, or they're never exactly what they think, because we're all the same size on
We
LinkedIn
all
or
are.
on all of this kind of stuff. Yeah. So you didn't want to come and hear me faffing about. You wanted to hear a little bit about Vonda. So one of the things I love about the beginning of this, and we talked about this in the room beforehand, is hearing people's origin story. I love to hear why they do what they do, how they got the journey they took. I've heard some of Vonda. Like I said, we've known each other on and off. But I'd love to for you to share your origin story, why you are doing what you do, and let everybody know why you're here. So, Vonda, what is your origin story?
Thank you, Mark. So my background is in neurorehabilitation. I've spent most of my adult life exploring the brain and the mind and how it works, and this amazing thing called neuroplasticity. So your brain's ability to rewire itself. And if it can rewire itself, why wouldn't we do it intentionally? So I graduated in Hungary as a conductor teacher. A conductor is a neuro-rehabilitation specialist. And I actually thought that I was born to do that. I thought that that was the only thing that I could do in this world. That was my purpose. That's really why I've been put down here on this earth. And it was true. It was true. I absolutely loved what I did, every minute of it. However, as I was doing it over the years, I started noticing that my body didn't quite love what I was doing, because it is a physically very demanding job. I mean, working with people with different neurological conditions like Parkinson's, stroke, MS, head injury, cerebral palsy, acquired conditions. When you start teaching people to walk and talk after they got paralyzed from the neck down, that's physically very demanding on your own body. So while I loved it, I was pretty good at it because I loved every minute of it. So I trained, I learned a lot of stuff. My body didn't quite agree with me. Um, And, I just kept brushing that long-standing back problem under the carpet, and I kept saying, nah, I'm young, mind over body, I can do this. It doesn't matter, I will get through it. I just need to get stronger. So I wasn't listening to my subconscious mind telling me that I wasn't able to do it for the rest of my life. Until my subconscious made sure that I did listen, and it put me to bed with a slip disc for a few months. And that was in 2018. And this is when I actually had to stop and think what I was going to do with my life going forward, knowing that if I went back to that profession and kept doing it the way how I was doing it, I would probably end up in a wheelchair long term. And I wasn't really prepared to do that. So then I started thinking that, okay, what else is out there for me? And, with having this belief that I was born to do that, born to do neuro rehab, it was quite difficult. And I felt very sorry for myself as well, let's just be honest. So after a sufficient amount of pity party, because we all need that as well, don't we? I started actively looking for something that I could transfer my field of expertise into, which is the brain, it's the mind, it's neuroplasticity. And this is when I found Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or NLP for short. And that is all based on neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself. Why wouldn't we do it intentionally without the physical strain on my body? So I felt like it was a match made in heaven for me. So I started studying that. I gave myself a couple of years to transfer out of this field, go into my new field. And I've never looked back ever since. So I said that I thought that I was born to be a conductor, and I do believe that I was. But if possible, I love what I do now, being a tour guide to the mind, even more. Even more. I do believe that now I'm living my purpose. I'm actually free to do whatever I want to do. I studied all sort of things: NLP, hypnotherapy, coaching, mindfulness, silver method, mind control, EFT therapy, all sort of different things. So I can bring all these different elements, different techniques, different modalities into my tool bag, and just reach down into that bag, bring out the best tool for the person that's sitting in front of me, and helping them change what they want to change in their minds. I mean, who wouldn't love doing that? I definitely do. I know that. But yes, and then I became an NLP trainer, and now I get to teach all those new practitioners. So they go out in the world and they help others as well. And I just feel that what I do now is really making the world a better place, bit by bit, person by person. So yeah, I think that's my story.
Love the story. Love that story. And I love how you're very right. Often we get to the stage where we put things behind us. We say, "No, I can carry on. I can push through." But the body and the mind says, "No, no, no. Hold on. You cut down here. You need to do something about it." Because if you don't listen to it the first time, eventually it gets louder and louder, doesn't it?
It definitely does, until you actually start listening and do something about it.
Indeed, and I would imagine that is some of that also comes across in the way you work with NLP. It's the same sort of thing. It's from what I understand, it's about listening to your body, listening to your mind, having a conversation with your body and your mind, and obviously you found your home, I suppose, in that after. Because, like I said, we've talked to each other on and off for years, and it was I've had the great a joy of having you come and talk to us about it, we can see your joy and your enthusiasm for what you do, definitely.
Oh, that's
So yeah, and like I said, one of the things I do love about these origin stories, because it's wonderful to see people's journey through where they go and what they're doing, and very often they end up in a place where they probably didn't expect it to be in the first place.
exactly.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I never would have thought that I was going to run my business. I always used to work for charities, and I love doing that. And I loved being able to fill that gap between what people needed and what the NHS could provide, working for a charity. And I thought that, yeah, that's the way to work. And now running my business, I can see that, yes, I am actually able to do that in a very different format, and help fill that gap in many different ways, either with my teaching or with my one-to-one sessions or company training workshops, whatever that will be, where I am able to help people with their mental fitness, with their personal or their professional growth as well. Yeah, I love that.
No, indeed, and that's one of the things I love to hear when people seem to find their groove and find their spot and their place, because I think one of the things that you seem to be coming across and saying is it gives you the flexibility to approach the people you're trying to support and help in whatever way that they need, based upon the skills you have and the understanding you have. Whereas sometimes when you're in an organization, you may be hampered by the way that they work. Whereas you coming with a big bag of different little tools to use, you can use what you think is and feel is appropriate based upon your experience and your knowledge as you go along.
That's right.
And is that you said 2018 is when you did the turnaround? How long? When was your first sort of broach into finding a customer? What sort of was that? 2018,
Oh, that's
2019?
question. So I started practicing NLP as soon as I
Okay.
certified as an NLP practitioner. I was doing it more with family and friends, helping them
Ah.
in different ways. And also I brought it into the center that I used to work.
Oh yeah.
So I ran the adults department of the Rainbow Centre down in Fareham, if you know that, in Hampshire. And I was helping my participants with Parkinson's and stroke, as well as NMS, as well as their carers, their partners who don't have the condition, but they are living with it as well.
Yeah.
So I was helping them with their mental challenges, to sort of bringing that approach into the rehabilitation services to offer a more rounded solution to everybody. And it had great impact.
Ah. Do you still do any work with those sort of customers?
Absolutely do. You know, once a conductor, always a conductor. We never actually change. I love working with people especially with Parkinson's, where I can help them get rid of their limitations, their limiting beliefs about the condition, about their life, and help lift them up, increase their confidence, increase their self-esteem, their self-belief, and be able to get back where they want to be in life. I mean, just think about that. All those people, let's say the provider of the family suddenly were diagnosed with Parkinson's or had a stroke, and they feel that their whole world has crumbled. It's disappeared. They use their purpose, they lose their confidence, they lose their self-esteem, their self-belief, their status. They don't know where they are in the world. And that is a very debilitating place to be. So I love helping those people to bring them up and show them that just because you have Parkinson's, it doesn't have to have you. You are
Mm.
still a person. You are so much more than just somebody with Parkinson's. And just helping them find this new identity, the new purpose in life, and seeing that they still have a really valuable place in this life, in their family life, in their circle of friends, in the world altogether. Now that I feel so fulfilling, how I get to have them empower themselves. That's
So,
really, I love doing that.
no, I like I said, and we can all see the excitement and the joy when you speak about that, which is brilliant. And I can see that in that sort of situation there is a great opportunity for change. How do you find that amongst others who don't necessarily come across with such an obvious challenge in front of them? How
You
do
mean
you?
who doesn't have a neurological condition and
Yes,
such?
yes. Say for instance, so if you're dealing with a business owner with business challenges, or a parent with challenges based on moving into that kind of new phase of their lives, etc. How does that differ, or does it not? That's a
It doesn't, to be fair, because for each individual, for every single one of us, whatever our problems are, will be the biggest problems, won't it? So they will feel about those challenges very similarly to how other people feel about bigger challenges. I mean, how do we know if it's big or if it isn't? It's very subjective, isn't it? And a lot of my work is to make those subjective feelings into something a bit more objective that they can see differently. So take a few steps back and see things for what they are, as opposed to how the person feels, because then you will be able to tackle those challenges and do something about them and overcome them, and find a solution focused approach, how to move forward to be where you want to be. But for that, we need to acknowledge that those issues are real issues for each individual. None of them are bigger or smaller, because in your life, that's going to be big for you.
Yeah, and I love the positivity around you're acknowledging and accepting the challenges you're facing and looking for ways to work through it or work with it, or to help and grow through it, as opposed to ignoring it and just trying to move on. I love that. Another thing I wanted to go on, you sort of mentioned in your origin story, you talked about yourself as and I've heard you talk about this, the tour guide of the mind. I love the phrase. What sort of, can you explain it a little bit more detail? Why tour guide? I can understand the mind from the NLP, but why a tour guide?
It's quite funny, actually. I did not come up with this title.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. So it came about when Portsmouth News did an article on me and my new business during lockdown. So that was quite a few years back. And this journalist was obviously very, very scared, because the article that she wrote was absolutely amazing. I was like, wow, who is that person? I really
I want to work
it.
with them.
Yeah, exactly. You know, she was actually getting the essence. I mean, I gave the answers about being a tour guide and all this to her questions, but her questions were absolutely beautifully skilled. And there, somewhere, I said that I don't see myself as somebody who fixes people, because I don't. It's not my mind, it's not my life. There is nothing to fix. First of all, I don't believe that you are broken to start with. You might have some challenges, but you don't need fixing. All you need is somebody a little bit more skilled who can hold the light for you and guide you around in your own mind, because I believe that you already have the solutions that you need to make those changes for yourself. Now you just need to find a way. And not everybody's able to do that, because not everybody studied that, and that's okay. This is where you need somebody like me who holds the light. I've got one there, actually. I don't know if you can see that, the little red one.
Yeah,
Oh, that way. Yeah. Right there. Yes. Who holds the light for you and acts as the tour guide in your mind. And then this wonderful lady, whose name I can't recall at the moment, but she was absolutely wonderful. She came up with the huge title. It was like a 2 pages big article with the huge picture in it and everything. And she came up with this title, Vanda, Tour Guide to the Brain. And I was like, wow, I really like it. I changed it a little bit. So I went from brain to the mind because of what I do with the mental fitness and personal growth stuff. But I'm going to be honest, I wasn't sure first whether I should use it or not. I absolutely loved it. I felt like, oh, this is really me. But then I was like, am I brave enough to not call myself an NLP practitioner or a hypnotherapist? Or is it going to give me enough credibility? You know, all those sort of questions and limiting beliefs then that come with this. And then I was like, you know what? I am going to be brave. I am going to call myself that because it resonates with me. Just like my yellow resonates with me. So I'm going to keep it as my brand color, because then I'm going to attract the people that resonate with me, that I want to work with. And that was one of the best decisions. Seriously, just to go with it. And I love it. It's a great conversation starter, never a finisher. Just very good. And we can always have a good chat about that. And this is really how I see myself. I don't see myself as a magic worker. I see myself somebody with that little torch, with that little light that I can walk you around in your mind. Then you can learn how it works. I can pass you the torch and you can carry on living your life.
No, and I think you're bang on. You're right. It's a great image that people understand. They recognize. They've seen tour guides. They understand that there are people who can show them how to do things, where things are, how they operate, and then leave them to you. And I think it's a it's a much more clearer image of what it sounds like you do than talking about an NLP practitioner, which for a lot of people probably means not a lot.
Nothing. Nothing at all. And and at the same time, there is this question: do I call myself an NLP practitioner, a master practitioner, an NLP trainer, a hypnotherapist? I don't actually identify as any of those. I am absolutely a practitioner, but I'm a practitioner of many different tools. And that, the umbrella term for me, for that, is a tool guide to your mind.
Absolutely, and you're right. It sits across those people for whom you're helping them to understand their own mind so they can face their own challenges. Plus, you're helping other people to understand their own mind so they can be tour guides to other people's minds.
That's right.
Absolutely. So yeah, no, great. So well done Hugh, for stepping into that role, and also thank you very much. It's always quite funny how people can from outside can see a little bit more about what you do and explain closer to what you do, because they don't have some of the, and this is probably something you come across, they don't have the baggage that you have.
Right, the limitations. That's right.
Absolutely, and they can see it, and they don't see. I can't. For instance, the tour guide piece, you probably wouldn't have lent into it, because you say there was a bit of a hesitation when you first heard it. You probably would have steered away from it if it had flashed across your brain without someone else giving you the right to say, yeah, it is me.
Yeah, exactly. It just felt good. It still feels good.
Good, and I suppose that's another thing that you would probably come across when you're talking to other people. You will stand as a guide shining light for them to see your own ways of looking around and their challenges, so that they can then start to accept and move forward. I love that. And one of the other things we sometimes talk about is and it comes across in your origin story, is if we talk about people's superpowers and kryptonite, and often you find, I find that sometimes their kryptonite, and this comes across very much in yours, it's the thing that held you down and came and finally shouted loud, turned into be one of the things that leaned you into your superpower of being the tour guide. Do you find that a lot when you work with other people? You find the things that they think of as their weaknesses, the things that are holding them back, are often their strengths.
It absolutely is. It's just a different perspective to see it from, and that's what I believe I'm very good at, is helping people see things from different perspectives. Because what might seem like a limitation or a bad habit or a bad personality trait in one aspect of your life, if you bring it over to somewhere else and you shine a different kind of light on that, it does become your superpower. And once you acknowledge that, then you start seeing that, oh, yeah, actually, I am worth a lot more than I thought I did. I'm not all these negative things that I thought about myself or somebody pointed out or I got negative feedback on. Because, yeah, it might not be for those people, but if I bring it over to these people, it's actually something absolutely wonderful. And that's about reframing, isn't it? Reframing your thoughts, reframing the way how you look at things and seeing them in a different light, different perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Turning very much, seeing something head on, it looks like one thing. You move slightly to the edge, and it can look like something else completely differently. And with that view, you're right. You can then potentially use it in different ways than you would have done
I'm going to give you another example of that,
Yeah.
Mark. I think this is a hot topic at the moment, with the ADHD diagnosis and everything else. And I understand that many people do need a diagnosis for whatever reason. I, as a neuro rehab specialist by trade, I feel a little bit iffy about all those diagnoses and all the videos that are coming out on social media and all that. If we are honest, if I look at every single symptom that's on that list, I will probably identify with 90% of them. But it is because I believe that as human beings, we are all on a spectrum. whether it is the autistic spectrum, the ADHD spectrum, the whatever, we are on a spectrum. So we will all have those personality traits, or in many cases, just habits. Our brain will be differently wired, and there is nothing wrong with that. Now, when you have ADHD or you have dyslexia or you have whatever the diagnosis is, all it means is that your brain is wired in a very unique way. And yes, that can be limiting if you put it in a standardized test way, if you like.
Mhm.
It might feel like, oh, I can't compete because I don't have those skills, or my brain works differently. But again, grab it all, take it over to here, and see how amazingly creative those people are, for instance. How amazing problem solvers they are. What are those different personality traits that here seem limiting, but when you bring them over there, they are again superpowers. So when people come to me, and I do seem to attract those people who have these sort of diagnoses, or the issues, the challenges, they are facing similar ones. What the first thing that I tell them is that you can tell me your diagnosis, but I'm not really interested in it. Because for me, what is important is how your brain wired and what can we do with it. Yeah. It doesn't matter what label we put on it, because that can have a positive connotation, it can have a negative one. I don't label things in general. What I do is I go into your map of the world, help you explore it and see how it works, and identify the things that work really well, and identify the things that might need a little bit of tweaking. Yeah. Nothing is wrong. Might need a bit of tweaking, or might need to be placed into a different, I don't know, circumstance or situation, or a different light. Again, going back to those perspectives. So it's all that, isn't it? It's about how you choose to see it. Yeah. Are you going to hide behind it and let it limit your life? Or are you going to say that, you know what? These things are there. I can't really do much about them. Yes, I can tweak them a little bit, but that's how my brain is wired. It can be changed, but fundamentally, there are bits that are wired that way. So where can I utilize them? Where can I make the most of them so I can make the most of my life? And that's where I feel the real magic happens.
Very good, and I'm with you on that in a lot of ways, and I'm with you on the fact that they talk about neurologically divergent. We're all divergent. There is no one person who could stand up and say, I am the role model, I am the medium, I am the what a human mind should look like, etc. There is no one who could stand for that. So everyone is unique, everyone is different, and and I like the way that you identify. Fair enough. We've got what we've got. You're playing with a certain deck of hands, a certain skills, abilities, stuff that you've worked on and you've grown and you've used over the time to get to where you are. Now let's see how we can shuffle the deck of what you've got in your hands and do something slightly different and maybe yeah. I like with that. My daughter herself has recently found that she's diagnosed as ADHD, and I think one of the things that and I can see that it gave her permission to try different things.
And I like that.
Yes.
If somebody uses it that way,
Yeah.
if they just feel that, oh, now I've got this sense of relief, I know what's going on, so let's see what I can do with it.
Yes.
Why not? Use it as a tool. I'm talking about that different mentality or attitude when you tend to hide behind it and say that, oh, I can't do this because I have the whatever that label will be, because it's not really supporting you in your life. It's not actually helping you get to where you want to be. So in effect, you are limiting your own life. And that if it sits well with you, by all means, I will respect that. And if you want to change it, I'm very happy to help you with that too. It's that attitude, it's that mindset, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think you're very right. If same sort of thing. If you find a diagnosis of whatever you do gives you a better understanding of who you are, what you're doing, and what your strengths and weaknesses are, so that you can move forward in a more positive way, then like you say, brilliant. That's helpful. That's useful. That supports you moving and growing. If you're using it as like I said, a crutch to say, no, I can't do this because I have this. I can't do that because I have this. And my brain doesn't work this way, so I can't do X, Y, and Z. Then you're right. It's very limiting. Yes. And would you? This is back to sort of what we try and do as part of here, and this is just probably going to get to a stage where there are a lot of tools you could use. But it's getting to me to say that one of the things that you have is you have a big toolbox, a big bag of lots of different things you can use in lots of different situations, and with lots of different people who are facing different challenges. Do you have a favorite tool? Is there one thing that you say, if there's anything necessarily, if you can try anything, try this?
That is a very difficult one, Mark.
I thought it might
so
be.
Many, and it will be different in every scenario for every
I
single
would
human
imagine
being.
so, yeah.
And you know, and I actually, I'm going to be honest, I have periodically I have my favorite, and then I see how I can utilize it for different scenarios, and that keeps me entertained as well, which is very good. But what I would say is that all these tools are amazing, but the main things that I always go back to are the presuppositions of NLP. So our guiding principles about the human mind, and about how to help people and how to treat our mind and others as well. And there are a couple in there that I seem to be using all the time, and I have been over the years. So one of them is that there is no failure, only feedback. You can either succeed or learn, or succeed and learn all at once.
Yep.
It's win-win-win, no, all around.
Yep.
So just imagine a world where there is no fear stopping you. There is no fear of failure stopping you from getting to where you want to be, because you know that it doesn't exist. You can't fail. You can learn. You can succeed. If you learned, very good. You can do it differently the next time. If you learned and succeeded, brilliant. You can still improve on it. Why couldn't you? Yeah. So it's that attitude of curiosity towards learning, towards life. It's lifelong learning altogether. So that is one of my favorite ones. And the other one is that everybody's doing the best they can with the resources they have available at the time. So there's absolutely no point in beating yourself up over something you've done in the past when you hadn't actually learned that thing yet. Of course, a minute later, when you have news of information coming in, you're going to feel differently about it. But at the time, you did the best you could. And in 2 years' time, you're going to do the best you can at the time with the resources you have available then. Yeah. So then again, that's a different attitude. It enables you to be a bit more kind to yourself, a bit more compassionate to yourself, which doesn't stop you from improving, but it actually encourages you, because bringing the two together, no failure, only feedback. There is something I haven't learned yet. What other resources can I bring in to then succeed? Yeah. So these presuppositions are, I think, two of my favorites, but there are many more that I would suggest. I keep coming back to these.
Yeah, no, I must admit, I did think it would be a very difficult thing to say. It's like it's like talking about your favorite anything really. It often is what you're seeing in front of you.
My favorite plant.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I must admit, I do love those two presuppositions, and I love the way you talk about how they give you some kind of I would say if you embody them and live them and understand them, it will give you a confidence to try new things, because you know there's an opportunity to learn things. It gives you a confidence to step a little bit out of your comfort zone, because you know you're going to learn something new, and you might change and try something different. So I love the way those two sort of meld and merge together.
They do. Yeah. No, I am with you. It's just, I always say that NLP is pure magic. Yeah, because yes, we can talk about all the tools and techniques that are behind it, but for me, it is pure magic. And the magic isn't necessarily in those tools and techniques. Those are absolutely brilliant, and it does feel magical when you go through it, and suddenly you go, oh, I haven't felt like this in ages, if ever. That is absolutely magical. But for me, the magic of NLP is in the attitude. is that attitude of curiosity, is that attitude of curiosity towards learning, towards life, towards experimenting, experiencing life as it comes. And that attitude, confidence that it's not about knowing, fake positivity right there, plastered over, saying that everything is going to be candies and rainbows and it's all going to be amazing. It's not about that. It's about having that deep inner confidence, knowing that doesn't matter what comes my way, I have the tools within me to navigate, to adapt, to overcome whatever that will be. I will be okay. It might be difficult, it might be challenging. Let's be honest, we're not going to just put a plaster around it of positivity. We can acknowledge that things can be very harsh, very difficult sometimes. Not everybody's our cup of tea either. But I know that I can deal, I can cope, I can sort things out because I have the inner confidence, I have the tools, I have the attitude. That is magical. That's what I call pure magic, the pure magic of NLP.
No, absolutely, and I can understand that, and I can understand, with the also the attitude that no matter what happens, there is going to be some learning, some change, and some opportunity to move forward
Has to
better
be.
than indeed. I also love the second preposition you talk about, because it also frames what other people do as well. So it frames what other people do, and because often we get feel that we're put upon. Someone's trying to do something to outdo you. Sometimes someone's trying to do, and if you frame it in the way that they're doing the best they can given the resources they have, they're not trying to. They're just trying to get through the situation they're getting through in the best way that they know at the moment, with the resources and the tools and the skills and the stuff they have in mind. That it takes away some of the personal touch of they're trying to be mean to the world is horrible to me because there are people out there who are being nasty. Well, they're not. They're trying to do the best they can.
It's all going back to the whole cause and effect theory, isn't it? And I know you know this theory from your studies of NLP, and we talked about it many times. It's all about. Are you happy for me to just talk about that?
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah. This is a conversation. We go where it goes.
Very good. So it's because you are asking what is my favorite tool. Yes, the presuppositions, but this is really the underlying foundation of everything that I or we do in NLP. And that is about seeing that when it comes to your life and your happiness and defining your life and your happiness, effectively you can be in two different places. You can either be at the cause of everything that's happening to you, or you can be at the effect of everything that's happening to you. For me. Yeah. So there are an awful lot of people who spend an awful amount of their time perceiving, watch my language, perceiving that they are at the effect of everything that's happening to them. This is when we blame others or external factors. This is when we find excuses and reasons why we cannot succeed, right? Oh, I can't do this because that person looked at me funny. Or I can't answer this question because I'm still waiting for somebody. Or I can't be happy because my husband said this or that, or because I don't have one, or whatever the reason will be. Yeah, there is always a reason. And it can feel like a genuine reason for why I cannot succeed in the outcome that I set for myself. That can be any business goals. That can be any personal goals. It can be something like being happy, right? This is where we ask the question, why is it happening to me? It's all about why me? Why am I so unlucky, right? And there is the flip side of that. When you are at the cause of things, you come back to the cause. Now, when I talk about cause, I mean your life starts and finishes with you, doesn't it? So you're going to be the cause of everything that's happening. So this is when you decided, you know what? I know I can't control everything and everybody. I have absolutely no control over what other people think, what other people do, whether there is a recession in this world, or whether I don't know, we have a pandemic, whatever that was, all the external factors. I don't have control over all that. But what I have full control over is how I react or respond to the situation at hand. Now, when you are at the effect, you react to these and then you start blaming. And when you are at cause, you take a moment, you take responsibility for what you can, for whatever is happening internally. You take control of what you can, not everything, but what you can, and you respond to the situation because you've decided that no matter what, I will succeed. There is no failure, only feedback. I can either succeed or learn or do the two at the same time. Why not? This is when you start asking different questions. You don't ask the question, why is it happening to me? But you start asking the question, okay, this is the situation. What can I do to make it work? How can I make it work? Where do I have influence? When can I take the next step? Yeah, you start very differently sounding questions, aren't they? Yeah, you start asking those. Now, if we are honest, seriously, Mike, what do you think? Where would be the best place to spend your time?
Absolutely, I know it completely. When you take control back, and you start to ask, like you say, as you were saying this, in my head is going bang on. You start to ask the better questions, and when you get better questions, you get better input, you get better responses, you can make better decisions.
That's right. So you saying as well that being at cause is the best for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, but if we are honest, can we spend 100% of our times 24/7 there? Of course we can't. And even people like myself, we do fall back into the effect of things.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for myself. You know, when I have a bad back or whatever happens, I have my pity party. We all do. But it's not about not falling back there. The aim isn't to only be at cause because then we would become robots. And we are human beings, thank goodness.
Yeah.
So the aim is to spend as little time at the effect as we possibly can and then bring ourselves back to cause. And that's what NLP allows you to do because we have limited time and limited effort, limited energy in this life, don't we? We don't know how long we have, but we know that we all have limited of them. These are the two things that are limited. We can always make more money, make new friends, whatever, but time we cannot buy back. So where do I want to spend that time and that energy? Being here, wishing my life away and blaming everybody else and not getting anywhere? Or saying that, you know what, I had my pity party, thank you very much. Let's come back to here, to the cause where I'm taking responsibility and charge of my own life. Because that's your place of personal empowerment. It's the basis of NLP, really. That's the foundation. And all the other techniques just come into helping you to get there.
Fair enough. Brilliant. So for those people who are listening to this, that NLP in a nutshell. There you go. That's what it is. But no, you're so right. And it isn't. It is easy to slip into the oh my goodness, life's so and so. Why am I getting what I'm getting? But if you understand and recognize that is not moving you forward, that is not helping you, there are better ways to deal with it. You can, like you say, take a breath, take a moment, start to respond rather than react. So yeah, absolutely. Which leads me in. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I just said when you are ready.
Yes.
Because, it's going back to another presupposition, is respecting the other person's map of the world. And they will do the best they can with the resources they have available. So the person needs to be willing, ready, and able that day. Because if they are not, we can't really have much. But it's just good to know that there are other possibilities out there when you're ready. Then you can move back to your place of personal empowerment.
Absolutely. And this sort of brings me to, like I said, one of the premises of what we're trying to do is trying to help people through their week, especially when a lot of the people that I deal with, a lot of people that I talk to, and this is probably going out to, are those people for whom they're working on their own. They're solopreneurs, or they've got a tiny team. They've got maybe a couple of people they can talk to, but they're having to take control, and we talk about this, of getting from Monday through to Friday or Saturday or Sunday or whatever their work week is, to try and keep them moving forward, and they're the only ones in control of that. Again, at a risk of saying simplifying some of the tools that you have in your sounds like a big bag that you must be lumping around quite clever with you. What do you think if there was? What do you think is your way? And this is probably the way I should ask
Yeah.
it. What do you do during the week when you hit that moment in the middle of the week when sometimes you feel the week is gone away from you? Your plans at the beginning of the week have sort of disappeared because life has happened, things have changed it, and your plan at the beginning of the week has gone away. How do you reconfigure? What do you do? There you go. That's a better way of asking.
It's a brilliant way of asking. So I am a big believer in taking regular breaks.
Yep.
I'm a big believer in having holidays, longer term ones as well. So that is really good. That's not necessarily going to help you on a daily.
No.
And in the middle of the week, as you mentioned. So what we are really, really good at is whipping our own back, that we need to keep moving forward and we need to keep doing things and be productive. Otherwise, we wasted the day, right? When in reality, if we don't actually allow ourselves to have those little micro breaks, it doesn't have to be a long one. It can be a 2 to 5 minutes break. Then what we are doing is we are reducing our productivity, our creativity, and everything that we're bringing to the table, right? Unconsciously. We don't actually know about it because we feel that, limiting belief comes into place. I have to be productive. I have to be doing. People think that if I take a break, I'm lazy, which is quite the contrary. If you're taking a break, you're smart because you know that by taking those micro breaks, you are giving your body and your mind and your soul all together, your brain, a chance to recuperate, to regenerate, to re-energize, and come back to whatever you were doing with a fresh perspective, with renewed energy. So then you're going to be a lot more productive. Yeah. And creativity is going to start flowing. So what I do is that I do build in those micro breaks. I do them regularly. I do them between every client session. And because I have those micro breaks, I actually can have 5, 6, even 7 one-to-one sessions in a day because I take care of myself in between. And I'm quite strict and boundaried with those. So what can a micro break be like? It can be while you're waiting for the kettle to boil. How about doing a little bit of a grounding exercise? Name 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can physically feel, like the clothes on your body, the ground under your feet, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and perhaps 1 that you can taste as well. So a little bit of a grounding exercise that brings you back to the here and now. So you are not worried about the past or anxious about the future, but you are in the here and now. So that's a great one. What you can also do is you can do a bit of box breathing. Breathing in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, and keep going with those 4 seconds ETUPs of breathing in a box. Do that for 2 to 3 minutes, or while the kettle is boiling, you are again bringing yourself back to the here and now. My favorite one nowadays, when the weather is a bit nicer, is to actually go outside and do this grounding exercise when you hear, see, and feel things in a different way. That's when I actually just stand outside and close my eyes. Close my eyes and just listen to what I can hear. Because for me, I'm a very visual and kinesthetic, touchy-feely person. So the sense that I use less is the auditory, my hearing. So then I direct my attention to that, hence bringing myself back to the here and now and paying attention to something I don't usually consciously, right? So that's a really lovely grounding feeling. Or you can just even sit on the sofa and cuddle with your dog. That's what I do. So we are talking about very quick, very easy, accessible, self-initiated and self-maintained micro breaks that are really sustainable because it's 2 to 5 minutes. If you don't have that, you are doing something wrong. Yeah, do that several times a day and then see what difference that makes.
Lovely, and I love I love that there are accessible things that everybody can do, even like you say, while you're doing something else, while something is waiting to happen, or etc. Yeah, because like so many of us, and you're right, so many of us give the excuse that I haven't got the time. And then, like I say, if you haven't got that amount of time in your day, then you're doing it wrong, because it for me, it's like the metaphor of the motorway. If the motorway is chock full, it doesn't move. It's a traffic jam. If the motorway has got space between the cars and space between the things, it flows. So if you're filling your life full, that you don't have anything more than 2 minutes to sit there and take a breath, which is
it's exactly that, isn't it? And I think it's also important for us to recognize that a break or something, whether it's an active or passive break, it doesn't have to be a full-blown yoga session. We don't have an hour. Well, we travel 2 hours because half an hour there, having the session, another half an hour to come home. We might not have 2 hours every single day. But who stops you from doing a downward dog in your kitchen? Or doing a tree pose or whatever? Just stay there for a little bit to give yourself that energy flow again. It doesn't have to be a full-blown something. You don't need a mat for it. Yeah, it's about finding creative ways how you can sustainably give yourself what you need. And most of the time, it's coming back to the here and now, giving yourself that mental and physical break. And sometimes it's about getting that energy flowing. Nobody's stopping you from doing a few push-ups or wall push-ups if that's your thing. And this is why I'm giving all these different ideas, is that everybody has a different thing. You need to find your own and break it down. Now, if you think about it, if you do 2 minutes of this 5 times a day, that's already a longer session. You've almost done a mini session altogether.
Absolutely.
So that's it. It all adds up, even if it doesn't happen at the same time.
No, very, very right. And like I said, this is completely accessible for most of the people that I know. Who work on their own. That take a break, go and have a cup of coffee while the coffee's the kettle's boiling. Say do a couple of wall presses, or do a couple of stretches, or take a couple of breaths, or grounding yourself. Give yourself that moment. Is completely doable and accessible to should be to everybody who is doing this. And even if you're listening to this in a work environment, nobody's going to look at you funny if while the kettle is boiling in the coffee room that you take a couple of breaths. Nobody's going to look at you weird.
To even see you doing it.
No, absolutely.
But actually do it in the middle of a meeting. Nobody will actually notice.
No.
I think we need to acknowledge that while we feel that we are the center of the universe and the most important person, other people think exactly the same about themselves. Nobody pays attention to you. So you might as well take a couple of minutes to do a bit of breathing, to stare out of the window, open the window, get some fresh air in. Yeah. Most probably, chances are, people won't even notice, and you will feel a lot better. If they do notice, however, how about inviting them to do it with you?
Oh, yeah.
How about giving them that gift that, oh, come on, let's do it. I'm doing it. I'm giving you permission, sort of, that you can come and do it too. Yeah, we are gifting something extremely valuable to each other. Why not? Spread the joy.
Absolutely. There you go. Spread the joy. Everyone, if you do some awesome, I could just imagine in the shared coffee room, they're all doing a couple of squats or a couple of wall presses. For a minute or two before they go back to their workspaces. Well, why not? Brilliant. Yes, indeed. So thank you. Nice and easy. And I encourage everybody who's listening to this, do it. Try it. Just pick one and try it and see how it goes. Because like we said, there is no failure. You learn from everything.
That's right.
One other thing before we close this, even though I could, like I said, carry on this conversation for a long time. I always love having a chat with you, Wanda. It's and as I said, we've committed to the world who's listening to this that we will have to say hi in real life. But before we go too far from that, this is one of my favorite parts because it gives me an opportunity to build my book recommendations. And I say this every time, but I'll say it one more time. This is Nicked from Tim Ferriss. It's very much a little twist because we talked about favorites, and often people who like books If you ask them what their favorite book, it's probably the one they've last read, or the one they're in the middle of reading, or one that it's something that's in their mind sort of immediately, quickly, because they just love books. They love learning. They love books. Whereas twisting it on his head, reframing, by saying which book is the book you would most gifted or recommended to other people to read, gives you a little bit of a different slant on the book. So with that said, here we go. What is the book that you must chatter? So tell me all about chatter.
Have it prepared, because this is my ultimate favorite book. You asked this question, and straight away my mind went to this book. But then I went back to my bookshelf and I was looking at it and like, okay, but there is this book as well and that book as well. There are so many, seriously.
Absolutely.
But this really is the ultimate book that I even put it on my recommended reads for my certified NLP practitioner courses, because it's so good. It gives you such a great insight about your self-talk, about your inner chatter that we all have, your positive self-talk, your negative self-talk, and how to harness it, how to make sure that the two of them are working for you the best possible way. So this is one of the most insightful books that I've read in the past, I don't know how many years. Oh, sorry, I'm covering Ethan Kross.
That's right. So for those people who are using this as an opportunity to wander around and just listen to us, could you explain the title of the book for those people that aren't looking?
So it's called, from Ethan Kross, it's The Chatter, The Voice in Our Head and How to Harness It.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant. And one of the things I love about this, I haven't heard of the book, so brilliant. It's definitely going to go on my...
Mark, it has to go on your list. You will love it. You will absolutely love it. And as you can see, mine is very much read everywhere. I've taken it everywhere with me, because I've read this book a couple of times. I keep rereading chapters of it, because at different stages of your life, you will be ready for news of information. So you will read it, you will hear it, you will feel it in a different way. And that's why, every time I go on holiday, I always take two books, one of a holiday read and another one is a little bit more serious, depending on what mood I'm in. Right. And in the past few months, this has been my go-to. I don't know, I just love it. It gives you so much insight into how your mind works and how you can harness that inner chatter.
Brilliant. And I loved you circling back to one of your premises about sort of, you might not be in a place to listen to hear all the messages at the moment, but you may be later on. So because I know a lot of people have favorite books but don't often revisit books, which I think, as you're suggesting, is probably something that they should do more often, because you'll get different messages.
I mean, just think about rewatching a movie or even a series. If you watched it 10 years ago, chances are you're going to see it completely differently after having gone through 10 years of life experiences with all its ups and downs and highs and lows and joys and sadnesses. Challenges, you're going to see it differently. You're going to take a different message out of them. So why wouldn't we do it with books?
Absolutely. Agreed. And so I will recommend that to as many people as I say. If you've read a book and you had a good book, reread it. Definitely. And also recommend the chatter. It's going to be on my list. I'm going to, as soon as we get off this, it's going to go onto I'm going to have a check on Amazon. Other book places, book sales are available, but I'm probably going to have a little look at Amazon. So again, lovely. Thank you talking to you. It's been wonderful talking to you. And I will see. We'll have to... One thing we didn't quite do is talking about staying connected. What is your favorite networking meeting to go? So because we've made this commitment to try and catch up face to face. Where would be a place where we could meet up, catch a cat? What sort of networking do you do, or connections do you do?
So are you asking about networking groups as such, or places where we could meet?
Both. Better both.
Okay. So when it comes to networking groups, my ultimate favorite that I've been a member of for about 5 years is the Only Network, or NLE. Yeah, we talked about that as well. So that is, I feel that they are my only family, and I really do believe that my business is in the place where it is because of the people I met through, only because of the connections I created there, business connections as well as friendships.
Yeah.
It has an absolutely wonderful ethos. It's not just about business, it's about connections, taking care of each other at a personal level, and business happens as well.
Yeah.
And business really does happen. So it's that's the most wonderful network that I've come across. I tried many different ones, but I keep coming back to this. Well, I've never left. So that says a lot. Where I like to network, if you are up for it, Mark, we could go for a dog walk or something at Humble or Holly Hill, or I don't know, something like that. We could. I love nature, as I don't know if you've guessed it.
Yes, I love nature. If you do, and I would encourage you to follow, and we'll talk about in a second where you're best place to find you. You will see that you're in nature quite a lot.
That's the advent.
Indeed.
As much as I can.
So with that invite, where can they find more about you? And where's the best place for them to connect? If people are listening to this.
I'm very happy to connect on LinkedIn with people. Just please make sure that you send a message, because then I will know that you actually want to connect, and then we can book in a one-to-one and have a little chat on Zoom. Why not? That would be amazing. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at NLP with Vanda. No, with Vanda, rather. You see this Hungarian thing? We don't have the W sound. It's all the for us. Excuse that part. So NLP with Vanda. And I also have a website if you want to have a look at it. It's vandavarga.co.uk.
Brilliant. And I'll put these in the comments. So talking of Hungarian, I used to work in one of the roles I did with a lot of people from Budapest. We had a share of the people, and we had a lot of Hungarians. And I did make a play at one stage to try and learn a bit of Hungarian. It is a tough language. It is a tough language. So I've got as far as being able to say "see ya," which is quite easy.
Oh, well done!
That's as far as I can get.
We also say hello, you know. So you might as well say
and ciao, and that comes everywhere in lots of places. But it's lovely to be talking to you, and we will make that dog walk. Although I will have to come without a dog. I don't have a dog.
That's okay.
I can use your dog. So lovely to speak to you, and we will speak more. So thank you very much to everybody listening. I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I did. Vanda's a great person to talk to. Do chase up and say hi to her in LinkedIn and other places where you can see her. Well worth following her. Do check out the book, because I'm sure it's going to be a brilliant book. And take a break. Have a little bit of break. This live is coming to the end. It's an opportunity to go and have a cup of coffee while the kettle is boiling. Take a break, and we will make sure the second half is your best half. So I will see you next week.